What is the laziest way to book calls from YouTube? Well, after helping clients book dozens of calls from their channels, I've learned that it doesn't come down to the thumbnails, the script, or even the editing. In fact, it has nothing to do with the content itself. And while some people wait 3, 4, maybe even 6 months to see solid results, the ones who do this see progress in as little as just 1. However, just because it's lazy doesn't mean that it's simple. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what this approach is and how you can use it for yourself. This way, you don't make it harder than it needs to be. But before I show you this lazy approach, you need to understand why most people struggle to book calls from YouTube in the first place. See, there are 2 main scenarios that most business owners fall into, and one of them will leave you grinding for months, booking barely any calls from your channel. And I actually had 2 clients who were perfect examples of this. So client number 1 took 3 months just to start seeing consistent results. Now, there are plenty of other benefits they were experiencing from their channel, but having YouTube as a main lead generation source was not one of them. However, another client starting in a very similar position was in this second scenario, and once he hit month 3, he was booking almost double the calls as the other guy. Even though they're posting the same volume of videos, very similar strategy, they just had these 2 different scenarios. So scenario 1, this person, he was just sending cold outreach, started to put YouTube, but his main source of lead generation was from cold traffic. And this can be for anybody who's sending cold DMs, cold emails, or even cold calling. And the situation here is that there's not too much of a direct correlation between that cold outreach that you're sending and the YouTube videos that you're creating. So what happens is it doesn't create a funnel that is super congruent. So the more cold emails you send doesn't necessarily mean the better your YouTube performs. But when we get to this second scenario, you could see that it's way more complex because they have something like meta ads, they have Instagram followers or LinkedIn followers. You don't necessarily need to have all 3, but somebody who's in this scenario where they're running ads, they're posting on Instagram, and they're posting to LinkedIn, and say in this scenario, they're even sending to a newsletter and then getting traffic over to YouTube, that funnel is just going to be 10 times stronger. Because before there wasn't too much of a direct correlation, but now you're getting this top of funnel traffic, putting it to a newsletter, and then driving that to your YouTube. Now, YouTube doesn't always need to fit at the bottom of funnel, serving as a way to convert people, but it's going to make all of these platforms perform stronger, and the YouTube's just going to naturally get better because you're going to have more activity up top and potential people going over to the channel. However, the only question that brings up is how do you actually get people over there, entice people to get onto YouTube? And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about, because that is the laziest way to book calls from your YouTube, just by leveraging it within the rest of the funnel that you already have in place. And like I said, this can be the difference between you taking 3, 4, maybe even 6 months to see great results, or it takes you just 1. And to no surprise, yes, the person who has a more consistent marketing funnel is going to be the one who succeeds better on the platform, whereas somebody who's kind of like just starting out, just sending cold DMs, you're not going to see as solid results, even though it's going to improve like your sales process, your follow-up process, stuff like that. However, that doesn't mean you can't see results in either scenario. It just requires a different approach. So if you want us to audit what your entire funnel looks like to see what works best for you when it comes to building a YouTube system, you can book a call below. We handle the ideation, the scripts, the editing, and we'll even guarantee you 10 to 20 calls per month. So if that's something you're interested in, you could book a call below. But either way, knowing why this approach is just the start, because now I need to show you exactly how to implement it. And for this step, we don't need to change everything that you have in place. We just need to find a way to get YouTube into the channels that are already working for you. And we're going to walk through 5 different examples. So the first one is going to be for anybody that's running a newsletter. So if you're using that top of funnel traffic, getting it down to a newsletter, and you're sending consistent volume out to an email list, say like 3 per week, 4 per week, or even 2 per week, like it doesn't really matter how much volume you're sending, but the important part is how you're leveraging to convert people through YouTube. Now, what this actually is going to look like is going to be linking YouTube videos in the bottom of your newsletter, and it's going to be stuff that's ideally like case study videos. I think Daniel Fazio from Client Ascension does a great job here. Like he just says like how Evan reached $100,000 a month inside Client Ascension. YouTube link here. How Corey had $30,000 a month inside Client Ascension. So he's treating his newsletter as a way to like nurture the audience, and then he's treating his YouTube as a conversion mechanism to throw as much social proof in their face as possible. So as you can see, it's not a lot of effort for him to go just hyperlink these in his newsletters when he's going over client results, because think of the type of people who are looking at your newsletter. They probably opted in from your social platforms. They probably already know you. They just need one small kick over the line, and they're probably going to convert into a client. So you could do something like this where you're hyperlinking YouTube links. You could hyperlink your entire channel. This way you could take these people who are on the fence and turning them into clients. And the second strategy is going to be using it in your social profile and post. So essentially a good platform for an example would be something like LinkedIn, like pinning that to the top of your platform, throwing case studies on there, because once again, those people who are kind of interacting with you, they're going to be one step behind the newsletter, like not as warm, but they're going to probably see your content quite a bit. If they're coming to your profile, maybe they're interested in something. So you could throw your case studies on there, get people over to the platform because maybe maybe they go watch the YouTube video where you have the case study, they click to your profile, they watch a couple of your other videos, and then from there, they're just going to be organically retargeted by the YouTube algorithm. However, there are way more platforms than just using LinkedIn, so I'm going to give you a couple ideas. Like, you can use YouTube videos as a giveaway asset. So if you run any ManyChat automations on Instagram, that could be one way to use it. If you run any of those on, well, LinkedIn and also Twitter as well, you can essentially, say you have a whole masterclass, you can maybe release it private or something, run a giveaway, and have people opt in to watch that video. This way it makes your other channels perform better because those giveaways tend to perform pretty solid, and then you're going to actually get more qualified traffic to that video in the first place. And another way is going to be setting up auto plugins on Twitter. All that means is when one of your tweets goes viral or gets an above average view count, essentially what will happen is some platform like Hype Fury will plug in your YouTube videos like below. This way you could take advantage of that traffic. Then another one is going to be posting them to Instagram stories. So if you have an Instagram audience at all, you could throw that up on your story. And then once again, you can announce like when a new video goes live. Now, the next strategy is going to be throwing these YouTube videos into your lead magnet. And this is going to be a little bit more on the complex side, but I think it's going to be something that's really strong and kind of creating that overall ecosystem where you're giving away, say, lead magnets, whether they're just like pinned to your website or you're running them as actual giveaways on platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And you'll just have your YouTube embed on, say, like one of the top 3 cards. In this case, like we're using Gamma. This is another example. Just one of the clients who I have that is absolutely printing with lead magnets like this. Don't want to expose him, but yeah, you can see that he has YouTube video as the second card there. So what happens is they have a lot of top of funnel traffic from platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And then they actually get people to opt into their newsletter by using lead magnets. And when somebody actually goes to look at that lead magnet, are they going to want to read all the text? Or are they going to watch the video that's going over that exact topic? And I would argue they're probably going to want to watch the YouTube video instead. And even if they don't, they might still click on your profile, go to your channel, once again, get organically retargeted by the algorithm over there. Now, this next one is probably lazier than the prior 3, and that's going to be throwing it on your landing page. Now, to understand like why this works, it's pretty simple. Think of the people who are going to your landing page. I mean, most of them probably aren't ready to buy from you, but they might be interested in what you offer. And when you have your YouTube links on there, in this case, like client success stories, like it's going to be a great way to pretty much speed up the sales process, get more touch points. And if they end up going to your YouTube channel, looking at some of your videos, watching your videos, you're going to get more watch time, you're going to get more touch points, and the algorithm is going to forever like organically retarget these people. Because once you engage with someone's account, they assume that you like that content and they're going to keep throwing it your way. So this might not be the highest leverage thing where you're going to throw it on your landing page and start seeing an increase in conversions immediately, but it's going to be one of those little things that adds up to the sales process, maybe gets people to book calls on the calendar with you a little bit faster, even on other platforms, and maybe they end up booking calls from YouTube as well. Now, this one is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be sales follow-up. And once again, you're not optimizing your YouTube at all necessarily in a scenario like this. You're just getting more touch points with your YouTube videos to people who are warm and interested prospects. So in this scenario, say you just had like a sales call with somebody and they didn't close for whatever reason. Maybe you're bad at sales. Maybe you just botched the objection handling. I don't know. And while I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a sales expert or some follow-up expert, but one of the great ways of, bringing in a little bit more variety is throwing over, say, like a case study or something along those lines. This way you can add some variety to the follow-up process. You're not just checking in with them every couple of days. And what will happen is, say somebody looks at that YouTube video, right? They go to your channel, they start watching some of your videos, they look at like some client success, and maybe they either, end up answering your follow-up because now they trust you a little bit more. Or what happens is, once again, the algorithm starts to bring them into the ecosystem, organically retargets them, and maybe they end up booking down the line through YouTube or something like that. But either way, it's a good way to increase variety by having different types of follow-ups. And then it's just another touch point that you could potentially convert them through YouTube with. And the best part is you don't even need to say anything crazy. Like, I personally will just throw like, hey, I just recorded this recent case study with client name. Thought it might be relevant for you since you're in the same industry. And I'm not expecting them to just like say, oh yeah, I'm going to convert right away. But if they go watch that, never answer my follow-up, and then come back, say 3-6 months later, that could be a way to keep them in the ecosystem and keep them engaged. But the main theme here is not necessarily booking calls directly from the platform because your videos are better. And that's why it's kind of lazy. You're just improving the ecosystem, getting more touch points, increasing sales velocity across other channels, and just making the platform a higher leverage piece of content for you. But realistically, this is only just scratching the surface. So if you want to see the exact YouTube strategy that businesses are using to make millions of dollars from smaller channels, watch this video and I'll see you over there.